Right on. Aloha and good evening. It is March 2nd, right? March 2nd at 7:13 p.m. Hawaii time, and this is the Libertarian Party of Hawaii Bylaws and Platform Committee. With us today, let's go ahead and do a roll call. Madam Secretary, if you could call out the members that are
Austin Martin,
present.
Nicholas Zehr,
Present.
Bryce Thon, Tone.
Present. Yep.
I'll get it.
And then we have an observer participating, Mr. Mulkern, whose input is welcome, but not technically a voting member. Is that correct?
That
That's
is
correct. I'm going to eavesdrop. Thank you.
Perfect. Excellent. Cool. You are welcome to join us, and thank you for being with us tonight. All right. First up is the minutes and revisions being approved from the February 9th meeting, 2026. I will go ahead and move these. And or I guess it's new business. It's already on there, so I don't need to. But is there any objection to approving the minutes and revisions from February 9th? Going once? Going twice? Okay, passed without objection. Excellent. We move forward. Today's agenda. Is there any business or amendments or objections to the agenda as it stands? Any input? We should technically move it.
I'll move it.
I didn't realize that. That's not how we have been doing it.
It's kind of a formality. It's good practice, though.
All right.
I'll second it. All right. If you don't want to record that, you don't have to, because we have had a precedent of not tradition, whatever, custom.
Does your screen look okay?
Screen looks good to me. Excellent. Okay, so the agenda, any further discussion, any amendments? All right, hearing none, I'll move this to a vote. Is there any objection to the agenda as it stands? Going once, going twice. All right, hearing none, passed without objection. We'll move on. Begin the reading and proposed alterations process. If you want to propose something, just feel free to raise your hand. If I don't notice you, you can feel free to pipe up. I will not get mad at you. If it gets crazy, though, I'll cut down on order. But
And we take suggestions from all participants too.
yes, so all input is welcome. All right, we'll start with Article 5, State and Executive Committee. Is this where we're at? This is right?
Yep.
All right, excellent. Section 1, Executive Committee. The Executive Committee comprises the 4 elected officers, chair, vice chair, secretary, treasurer. No committee member shall run for public office unless they resign or unless the committee approves their candidacy by majority vote. Conflicts of interest shall be addressed per Article 3, Section 4. I will start off by suggesting that we strike the language about committee member running for public office unless they resign or the committee. Oh, I'm sorry. Actually, I didn't read that right. It says, or unless the committee. I'm sorry.
Those are different.
That's good. Okay. It leaves us flexibility. So if we don't have enough candidates that are standalone, our members can run as long as they have the support of the board. Okay. Feel free to stop me if you guys have any thoughts.
DeCosta has a section on executive committee.
All right, let's read Mr. DeCosta's suggestion. Section 1.
The executive committee of the party shall comprise the officers and 5 at-large members. All members of the executive committee shall be party members and Hawaii residents.
Hold on. We got section 1 and 2, section 1 and 2 on both. If it's okay, I'll explain the difference between these two.
Yes. Well, he has a terms of office in his.
Oh, I see. That's also section 2. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Continue.
The executive committee of the party shall be elected at each odd-numbered year and annual convention and shall hold office until adjournment, sine die, if said convention or until their successors are elected. No individual shall hold more than one office at a time. The executive committee is empowered to fill its own vacancies, subject to any further express limitations in these bylaws.
Okay, excellent. with the vacancy language, I think we have some covered elsewhere. But there might be some good idea to adopting something like that.
Not
Our vacancy provision may or may not specify that as it is. So that would be the first thing that stands out to me. But
yeah, we do have a section on vacancy. It's probably similar.
can we look at that really quickly? I just want to see
Yes.
what we've got there. I'm sorry, guys. Auto resignation. We might want to return that when we get to this.
We can compare those again when we get to this section, if you like, and start with executive committee. Oh, I see. Is this actually under?
Yeah,
This is the section we finished last time.
yeah. One thing we could do
This
is
makes more sense, or some of it does in committee.
no,
Instead.
we could take that last portion that Mr. DeCosta proposes, and we could append it to this section here as subsection 4. The executive committee of the party shall be elected at each odd. I mean, we could just put it in this section too. Nothing wrong with that. I like that language because it makes it really clear when the elected officers take office and when they leave office. And
Yeah.
I will.
The one clause that's a problem is no, and we want it to be this way. We want no individual to hold more than one office at a time. But as we've seen, there's situations of necessity where that may occur, and if it does, through no fault of the officer's own, you'd be in a breach situation. And so that would cause liability, in my opinion, to the party and to the officers. So it's really important that we should keep language in there, maybe weaken the shall to say should, um, and that would
Or if I may, Austin,
please.
you can leave it as shall, but add
Pursuant to
unless otherwise specified in. I'm trying to remember exactly where it was at in there, but
I think it's actually
We
this
just
section.
pasted it right here. Yeah.
It's I'd say except as otherwise authorized in these bylaws, specifically authorized in these bylaws. That way, it keeps it to the specific language that applies.
right. Because I'm fine with leaving it as a shall as long as that gets clarified. I was actually gonna bring that up myself before you noticed it. So
Subject to.
We are inserting after one office at a time. We're inserting except as provided or as explicitly provided in these bylaws. There you go. And then the last sentence is fine. Maybe just get rid of the extra space. That's typography. It doesn't really matter. Okay. We can do that later. I like that Mr. DeCosta proposed what he did. That's really good. That definitely gave us a lot of material to work with here.
Okay, so motion by Austin.
Note that it is the DeCosta recommendation. There we go.
Is the note more to show that we're taking what he put into consideration as well, even if he's not present on this?
Yes, it's because I also suspect there's more than one person who collaborated on these bylaws. The language is good there, and it's not my original suggestion, so I want to give credit to where it's due. Even if it's
Did we hit record?
yes,
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
yes, we did. We are on the record.
I will second this.
Excellent. This is a proposed amendment that would add to the end of this section, and we will zoom back out and look at this. This would be, I'm not sure if we have the exact position right here. We could add this as subsection 4 here, and pardon me for hijacking this for a second. It could also go as subsection C here under executive committee, and it might just fit a little more neatly there.
Yeah, it doesn't exactly.
Because this covers more than just vacancies.
Well,
This covers executive committee empowerment and tenure. So I would suggest let's amend the motion here, if there's no objection, to take it from subsection 4 and change it to subsection C under Article 5, Section 1. There you are. Perfect. There we go. Is there any objection to the amendment to the motion? All right, without objection. Is there, we haven't voted on the actual motion yet. So on the actual motion, is there any further discussion?
If you just want to quick change that 4 to a C, we'd be aces.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Subsection 4 to subsection C.
All right.
All right. Excellent. All right. Is there any objection to the proposed motion and proposed language? Do we want to go on the vote, or can we do it without objection? Hearing no call for roll call, we'll go ahead and do it without objection. All right. Cool. If we could go back up to section 1 really quickly, I just want to look at it. Something that we glossed over that I don't want to ignore here is that there is a profound difference between the DeCosta first portion and this first portion. DeCosta's portion includes the entire, what I'm calling the state committee, and makes it the executive committee. So that would consist of all of the at-large or other kinds of members that could sit on the board, right? And that would mean that all decisions go to the larger full committee. Oftentimes, it is advantageous for organizations to put things like the chair, the treasurer, the secretary, and the vice chair in an executive committee, and that's generally how it works. And it's nice because it allows you to delegate effectively. It also allows you to develop a good leadership team. Then it allows the state committee to function more like oversight as well, and less like steering, like it doesn't have to steer every micromanaged decision, right? So it cuts on some of that. Dangers of it are is that, having people who are tight, who are, if they're not good, that sucks. But again, same goes for people who are awesome. So it's kind of a how big do you want the decision making committees to be, and who has the power. So the executive committee does not have the power. It would have the power in the absence of like a reason to go before the state committee. The state committee is the more powerful committee in my model. In the DeCosta model is more like what we have now, where everybody is just on the same footing. It works right now pretty well because we're a small team, right? But as the party grows and more people are involved, right? It becomes harder and harder to keep everybody on the same page, and when every decision starts requiring to go through committee, it can be a lot. So it's important to be able to balance this. I think the nice thing about the executive committee, state committee thing is that the state committee can always rein in the executive committee because the executive committee answers to the state committee, right? It doesn't rule over it, it answers to it. And I think that's a really good way to look at it because you have a lot more work that has to be done between the chair, vice chair, secretary, and treasurer that is not shared by at-large members or region members or whatever. So that's kind of my thoughts on this. I don't have super strong feelings either way. It's kind of whatever you think is best for the LPHI, and I'm willing to kind of defer to what the body thinks on that. I think the executive committee model is flexible because the state committee, if they want to, can literally just make it, where the state committee needs to do everything. And that's within their power to do that. So, it can work either way, whereas the other one binds you to having a fixed, non-negotiable decision-making committee of an entire, basically the entire state on everything. So, different state parties have different needs on this. So I'll yield the floor. Does anybody have any opinions? It's kind of a big, thing. Bryce, I see your hand. Go ahead.
Yeah, I noticed that language. With respect to the work that Mr. DeCosta has put in, I would be vehemently opposed to making everything go through state committee. I do think that they should be separated.
Well, to be clear, he doesn't define a state committee in his, it's
No,
right.
yeah.
He would be changing it all to the executive committee, but it would be what the state committee is now.
Correct. That is correct. Yeah. Bryce nailed it. He's correct. It would be the same thing as making every single decision go through the state committee, right? This allows flexibility, and where necessary, like some level of in executive decision purposes, there is authority and hierarchy. For board decision, like directorship, the state committee holds the higher authority when its majority is there, but it also consists of the executive committee as part of it. The at-large members can outvote the executive committee, right? So, yeah, that's kind of the mechanism there. It's a check on kind of it's a way to be able to give people the ability to run and do stuff, while still providing a check. All right.
I noticed in section 1. Oh, never mind. Those are the same. Never mind.
Right. He just doesn't call for a state committee. He calls the state committee the executive committee.
Yeah.
Right. So the state committee consists of the executive committee, and this is and feel free to propose, stop me here if you guys have thoughts. The county chair from each recognized county affiliate, one at-large executive member if needed to maintain an odd number. So here's my thought. There's a numerical error there that will need to change. It says ABA, but that's okay. The executive committee are the 4 officers. And then the idea is instead of electing a bunch of at-large people, we could have the counties hold their chair elections at convention. It would be easy to do that, right? And, this would be a kind of a fun way to do it. It doesn't have to be at our convention, I suppose. They could elect their own chairs at their own kind of leisure. But the four county chairs would each then, you'd have to have an affiliate is the idea to justify expanding, and putting extra people in full-on decision-making roles, right? And my thought is like, it was originally designed so that each county chair, if I remember correctly, each county chair was supposed to serve on the board. And what happened was it was hard to get somebody from every island, right? And that's the exact problem that we need to solve from like an organizational perspective right now. Like we need more in-person meetings happening on all these islands, and that is like super, super key, right? But putting people who are intended to represent those missing people doesn't really make sense, right? So, um, it's kind of one of those like we have to balance, whether or not we need to be adding extra people to the committee, even in the absence of that affiliate. Because to me, like what has historically happened is we all end up from one or two islands, right?
Yeah, I like this setup.
This incentivizes people if they're not happy with what's going on in the state. This also gives them another method to kind of deal with that, and by using their county affiliate. Um, the word recognized might be redundant because an affiliate must be recognized to be affiliated. Um, so yeah, I'm curious, Bryce, if you have any thoughts, Nick, if you have any thoughts on this. Um, I want county parties. I want that ground game, and I kind of want it to be like related to, instead of just having a board, like we have to tie the board positions in some ways to this. And then that gives the counties oversight over the state committee. And then that keeps the state committee and the executive committee as a kind of combined force lean and mean, right? Because the at-larges are each, direct decision makers on the state committee, but they're also county chairs, right? So no more actual at-larges. They are the county chairs. Sorry, I'm talking too much. Somebody else say something.
Can we go to section 3?
Personally, as things stand right now, I don't really see any issues with that, with it as written. I understand what Austin's throwing down, but I also don't think that needs to be addressed immediately.
Yeah, it's like if the county is there and there's an affiliate there, then they get representation on the state committee. If there's not, then we don't just give their seat to some other island. Anyway, okay. Section 3. State committee should maintain an odd number of members. If the total officers and county chairs is even, an at-large number may be elected at the state convention. If a county affiliate is not in good standing or inactive, an at-large member may be elected to fill the county chair's position and to organize that county. The committee's term is 2 years, from the close of one state convention to the next until successors are elected. Oh, hey, there's the language. Committee's term is 2 years from the close of one state convention to the next until successors are elected.
It's a lot more concise.
That's a lot more concise than the language we added right here. Ooh, we should reconsider this. We don't need to specify that the executive committee is empowered to fill its own bylaws either, especially because the executive committee is a tiny committee. We wouldn't want to leave the state committee out of that process either. Is there anything we need to keep from here that isn't already represented? I think
After reading that, I don't think
other
so.
than until adjournment, sine die. I do like the executive committee of the party shall be elected at each odd-numbered year annual convention.
The until adjournment, I can see why it's in there.
You know what I would do?
But that's already kind of the way Robert's rules works anyway, so I think we're good on that one.
Yeah, we also distinguish between like the state convention and a special convention or whatever, I think. But I think that means we should strike this language here.
Okay, motion to reconsider.
I think until adjournment, sine die of said convention, we might want to motion to only keep,
or until their successors are elected. Yeah. Well, no, wait.
no, because then
That doesn't make sense.
it would be blocked.
The end of an adjournment or until successors are elected are conflicting.
No, because if you have an adjournment without a successor being elected, then you hold on until a successor is elected.
Oh, I see.
It's the same thing we have. It's just not quite as specific as this.
Yeah.
And elected at each odd number year. I do like this language right here. I feel like this part right here is pretty good. We could just take this and then throw it in over here as number 3. Don't do that. There you go. So my motion would be to strike the redundant language from the prior motion redundant.
Strike the prior motion, right?
Yeah, to strike the prior motion and insert and to replace section 3 subsection 3 to replace 3.3 with the following language. There you go. All right, cool. And then if you don't mind, strike that up.
I'll be the
Cool.
one to second it when you're ready.
Cool. Seconded by Bryce. And then we'll put the strike through on the prior motion up above. Perfect. Cool. All right. Any discussion?
Nope.
All right. Excellent. All right. Cool. Any objection to the motion? Any objection? Passes without objection. All right. Excellent.
If you'd asked one more time, Austin, I might have just objected to my own second just because.
Just because you never know when Bryce is in the meeting what's going to happen.
Wild card.
Okay, here we go. Section 4, meetings and quorum. The state and executive committee shall meet as respectively determined at the chair's call or upon written request of 3 or more members, with at least 3 days prior notice. Meetings called without ordinary notice must show good cause and may be called for reconsideration at the next regular or special meeting. If any state committee member is absent for 2 consecutive committee meetings, that member's position consecutive regular committee meetings, I would motion to add the word regular between consecutive and committee meetings. Would you agree with that, Bryce? Nick?
Yep. Because obviously, if a special one gets called and they can't make it, that's kind of.
Yeah, you could trigger the auto resignation policy that way and try to like remove somebody that way. That's not good.
Yeah, I was also thinking maybe instead of an automatic vacancy, how about requiring a formal removal vote whenever they hit like the 2 missed meetings? Because what if they were sick, deployed, had family emergency?
I asked about this. The problem is with that is that it would be a violation of member rights. Although putting it in the bylaws would theoretically help, it could violate member rights and produce liability. It's different if in the bylaws, which is the contract that we kind of agree to when you get on, that you've agreed to a provision to provide a resignation than it is for the board to take a disciplinary action against you.
Yeah.
Right. So even if required, we wouldn't be, I think it would cause problems is I guess the long and short of it. But I do agree with you that I wish there were an easier way to approach that. Here's one thing though. The board can provision shall not be construed. Let's see. We should maybe add a provision that says the board may excuse absences at its discretion, and this provision shall not apply to such excused absences. What do you think of that, Nick?
That works.
Cool. Perfect.
Can you say that again?
Okay. At this 2, we're going to add 2A. We're adding nor to disparage, or no, we could just add at the end of this sentence here, we could just say concerning subcommittees, nor to disparage the state committee's right to excuse absences. Prerogative rather than right. Yeah. Or say to excuse absences for cause. That way, if you have like, a couple friends on the committee and things are tight and whatnot, and there at least has to be a reason. And the idea is, we've had people in the past who just do not show up at all. And if you tried to get a vote to remove them, nobody politically wants to be the guy that removed you and then have to deal with you at the convention and all that. It's like, it's very unlikely to actually like work, but it's likely to enhance drama and fire, right? But like, so if they're not showing up and they don't have a good reason or an excusable absence, that's that. If they don't show up and they get auto resigned, right, and the board is fine with it, they can simply reappoint them with a simple vote. So I think that does the best balance between protecting member rights. This is very close to what we have on the LNC. And I can throw in one more caveat. I don't know if we've defined what a regular meeting is, but we could add a definition of regular meeting or annual meeting, right? Or biannual, semi-annual meeting, where like I would love to do an in-person meeting once a year for the LNC or for the LPHI. That would be really cool for the whole board, at least if we don't do like a convention and a in-person meeting at some point. We need a little more cash flow to make that really work, right? But like that would be something where it's like in the LNC, if you miss those in-person meetings, if you miss 2 in a row. But I don't remember. I think this is the meeting sections, meetings and forum. So. Call for reconsideration of the special meeting. Okay, so motion by Austin Martin to add the term regular before committee meetings on 4.2 and to add at the end of section 2 in order to disparage the committee's prerogative to excuse absences for cause. Is anybody opposed to combining those two things? All right, is there any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, we'll move to a vote. Is there any opposition to the motion?
Has this motion been seconded?
Oh, it hasn't been seconded. I'm sorry, I'm ahead of myself.
A second.
No worries. All right, seconded. Any discussion? Excellent. We're going to a vote. Any opposition? All right, hearing none. Passes without objection. All right. Moving forward. We may have another motion on this section. We'll see. A quorum is more than half the committee of the number of committee members in good standing.
Well,
what would be the
committee?
Yeah, but somebody might argue that, well, the committee could be this number. Yeah. No, I was just gonna think like active committee members or something. That's the wrong word.
No.
Is it is more than half the committee? Yeah,
That works.
that should work. What do you think, Bryce? Too vague?
I think we're good
Okay.
on that one.
More than half the committee. Ordinary decisions require a majority vote, with each member having one vote. Electronic meetings are permitted with provided members have full participation or just with full participation.
With full participation basically says they're allowed to vote in the meeting.
Proxy voting requires prior committee approval. Meetings are open to dues paying members as observers.
Do you think we should tighten up the language a little more for proxy voting? Like proxy voting's prohibited unless specifically authorized by policy adopted by majority vote.
Yeah, let's do that as a motion by Nick.
I'll
Make a
second
motion for
it.
that.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, that proxy can turn into vote consolidation and get
Yeah.
crazy. So
Say if I could ask for a friendly amendment, proxy voting is prohibited
Well,
except
let me, okay, yeah.
should we just leave it at proxy voting is prohibited?
That is what DeCosta says, I believe.
Or do you want to just tighten it up or do you want to just prohibit it?
I'm cool either way. I'd support prohibiting it outright. I'd support prohibiting it unless insert explicit exceptions.
let's see.
I
Does Robert's rule say anything about proxy voting?
I'm uncertain.
That would, let's see, that
um,
would be in conflict.
no, I believe Robert's rules leaves proxy voting mainly up to the bylaws.
Yeah, it's up to the bylaws.
But I would say that like when I vote for someone at convention, I'm kind of voting for them, not someone in place of them. So
That's
I think this
true
is something that like if we do allow should be
by
very
unanimous vote of the
I don't
state
even
committee.
know how I don't know.
Proxy voting is prohibited except by unanimous or by 2/3 consent.
Yeah.
I'd say even higher than that. If you're gonna allow it, it should be like 3/4.
Unanimous. Proxy voting is
Ooh,
prohibited
I like it.
except by unanimous.
Unanimous or 3/4?
What do you guys think? 3/4?
3/4.
I'd say 3/4 would be.
3/4 vote of the state committee.
Of the committee?
State committee.
State committee only?
Yeah, I don't think you're going to want proxy voting in other situations anyway. You should capitalize state committee though.
Yeah, proxy voting on the executive committee would be kind of wild.
Okay.
Yeah, the members vote can probably be deleted. Proxy voting is prohibited except by 3/4 vote of the state committee. You could even add um uh um like per vote, per proxy vote. So that means if any business is super controversial where you have less than 3/4 of the committee, right? The voter needs to be there. But if it's on something that we all generally agree on, then a proxy vote can be allowed if the state committee allows it, which should just discourage it to make it.
Make that
Are we
complicated.
are we overthinking this and just should we just do
I like this one.
it's up by 3/4 vote of the state committee? And can be revoked by simple majority. How about that?
I'd be cool with that.
Yeah, that works. And
You could even revoke it with a 1/3 minority.
What was the last edition?
And can be revoked by over 1/4. How about that? By more than 1/4 of the committee. By objection of more than 1/4 of the committee.
Just to discourage it as much as humanly possible.
Yes, that's teeny
or
right.
we could just circle back and prohibit it.
I'm almost leaning towards that, but I think we got it. I'm comfortable with this language as long if you don't have 1/4 of the committee, then it's not controversial and it probably doesn't matter. Unless you have a situation where it's like somebody's proxy. Oh man, I can think of so many ways that can be abused. Yeah, let's just prohibit it. What do you think?
Went through all that effort. I'm fine with prohibiting it. I'm not going to oppose it.
Be there, one person, one vote.
We have so much out. We have so much remote business. If we ever lost Zoom, right? This would actually be like a legit thing that we would want to do. So maybe
Okay. Let's call the question.
if we think of it that way, we might not want to make it revocable by objection of more than 1/4. We just might want to leave it as,
Well,
revoked by a simple majority.
in the case of a necessity, they're not really going to vote it down.
That's true, but it's a very low bar to disrupt the meeting down.
You would think that. Thankfully, Hawaii doesn't have too much factionalism in it, but I could see a scenario where a quarter of the board just really does not like a certain group, and so they just refuse to allow that exception to exist.
Yep, can be
Right
refused.
now, we don't have a lot of factionalism right now.
Right now, exactly. Can be revoked by majority vote. No, I don't know if you want to say objection of the majority. I would say just by majority vote.
It can be revoked by majority vote.
Can be revoked by majority vote.
I am trying to play out a scenario in my head though, where 3/4 of the board would decide to allow one and then turn around and over 50% say, actually, we're not going to allow it.
I just added the words for a good cause after accept. I'm sorry for jumping the line there. Except for good cause by 3/4 vote of the state committee and can be revoked by majority vote. Any further discussion? I'll call the question. Any objection? Going once, going twice. Passes without objection. That's a tricky one to work out. Thank you guys for putting your heads together with me on that. Section 5, responsibilities. Abbra, do you want to read this section?
With participation and oversight from the state committee, the executive committee shall A, direct the day-to-day operations of the party, B, lead party affairs, and C, to the needs of the organization, C, enforce bylaws, D, maintain documentation or evidence of work, E, facilitate amicable transitions to incoming executives.
Let's add the words where possible or as much as practicable after point D. That way it's not a continuing breach of the bylaws if you're not keeping some stupid asinine record. Right. Or yeah, say
maintaining documentation is pretty vague.
Yeah, it's really a vague statement. Say maintain appropriate documentation. Appropriate documentation and evidence of work. We want people to keep records. We do not want executives running amok and then not keeping records of the decisions they make, things they do.
Maintain regular documentation.
Yeah, I'd say maintain.
Routine.
I'd say maintain proper or regular. Maintain regular documentation and evidence of work. Add regular between maintaining documentation, strike or replace with and.
Maintain regular documentation.
Can you add the word appropriate before regular? We can define what's appropriate in policy. But that also will give it'll give kind of a nod to like if somebody wants to point out best practices of what we can do, that's helpful, but it's not an automatic bylaws violation to not do that, right? So it's vague enough that I don't think, to say it's inappropriate is kind of subjective. And if somebody's not keeping records of something and the board thinks it's inappropriate, they can act on that, right? But it's not at the same time a hardcore, standard that would be, it's basically a reasonableness standard.
That some pink-haired libertarian from Colorado couldn't use and abuse to punish political opposition.
That's exactly the pink flame of liberty, man.
I'll second that.
I think she wrote the DeCosta bylaws, by the way.
We're not sure.
We're not 100% sure about that, but we're reasonably confident that she contributed greatly to the DeCosta bylaws. That is what I've been told.
Anything's possible.
She's done good work on things. She's definitely been through her share of parliamentary fights. Not all bad. All right. Any further discussion? Right, moving us to a vote. Any objection to the motion? Hearing none, passes without objection. All right, excellent. Any other things, responsibilities that need to be added or anything? I don't really think so. You can always do this in policy. You don't want to over restrict. That was the problem with my earlier drafts too, was overburdening by specifying responsibilities in the bylaws. It's a mistake. Okay, cool. Article 6. You guys can, at this point, anytime you're ready to call it and you're like, hey, I'm done, just say so. And no worries. We technically just arrived at where we want to go. But if we can do more, it cuts down the number of meetings we have to have. And yeah, so I'm going to keep reading if that's okay. Section 1, conventions. Conventions of candidates. Regular state conventions occur every odd-numbered year, holding the highest authority over party operations. 2, elections of executive officers and state committee members occur at each, I'd say, odd-numbered year, or each. We need a regular, or we had the word biennial, but there's problems with it, right? We want a odd numbered years. We have the words odd numbered years there before. So let's go ahead and add that here, because we want to potentially have conventions between elections, and we don't want to have a bylaws provision that calls for us to, be subject to reelection, or being kicked out in the middle of your term. Motion to amend. I think that's section 2, right?
Subsection 2. To specify odd
Convention. Any just is there a second?
I'll
I'll
second.
second.
All right,
Jinx.
cool. Any discussion? All right, hearing none, I will move us to a vote. Is there any objection? All right, hearing none, passes without objection. Excellent. And here I will move this up a little bit. Okay. Elections of state officers members occur at each odd number year convention. State committee facilitates conventions with 60 days notice. You may want to put like an asterisk or something here, just to note that, we will be inserting something there.
Right. Well, that's what my notes down here. It's all
Okay, I'll stop interfering with you. All right, state committee facilitates conventions with 60 days notice provided to members and 30 days public notice. Proxy voting is prohibited unless approved by the executive committee with prior notice. Why do we have this twice? It shall not prevent electronic voting or electronic meeting attendance where the state committee has approved it. I move to strike
I don't think we need
subsection
proxy
4.
voting at convention at all. do
No,
we?
especially not at convention. I don't like that idea.
Motion to strike subsection 4.
Motion to strike subsection 4. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Love you guys. All right. Cool. I think Bryce got that first. No, Nick might have gotten that first. It's hard to tell.
Cool thumb wrestle.
Thumb wrestle.
I'll let Nick have it.
All right. Cool. Any discussion? Any objection? I'll move us to a vote. Any objection? Motion. All right. Hearing none, passes without objection. Excellent. All right, cool. You can actually put the strike through on that if you want.
I have
Oh.
to pull up like 4 readers. It's not.
Okay. Yeah, my bad. If high attendance hinders orderly meetings or conventions, this delegate system may be implemented by majority vote. That might be a problem. Of the executive committee. Oh, that's definitely a problem. It needs to be state committee. Delegates shall be appointed based on membership counts by the affiliated county board at a ratio of 10-1. For counties without affiliates in good standing, after reasonable notice from the members of that county, the chair shall administer a vote amongst those members to determine Delegates must be sustaining right. I move that we strike subsection 5.
You want to look at 6 before we continue?
I'll deal with. Yeah, let's first strike subsection 5 and subsection 6. Delegate proceedings. I get it. Is there a second?
A second.
All right. Any discussion? I'll lead. The reason I wrote this in the first place is I imagined that too many people at the meeting would just be impossible because I was really inexperienced when I was actually writing that particular portion. And it's kind of stuck with me that, if the meetings get too big, what are we going to do? Well, doing bigger conventions and like doing the LNC and all of that, having done 100-person convention, I can see the value of having delegates. I think that we could easily do that. Through policy, we could leave ourselves the way to do that, but I don't think it's a good idea to strike it out in the bylaws as a theoretical system for a problem we don't even have right now.
Well,
and I don't think the delegate system is actually that great.
huh.
It's kind of like a wooden system that's not very well established, not very well defined, and when I wrote this, not having done very many credentials fights, not having really an idea of just how ugly that can get. I think probably the smart thing to do is just do it like any other state convention. If you do delegates, do it through the county where the counties are able to determine their delegates, and you do allotments based on membership, right? But I think for the purpose of doing that, I think all that that we could reframe this if you guys think that's a necessary and good idea.
I will say I'm not a fan of the delegate system either, but I can think of one thing that implementing the delegate system would have prevented last year.
Yep. Let's raise the vote threshold to use a delegate system, but then let's strike instead of striking the entire section.
Seconded it.
It's fine. I'm gonna amend it. Before I propose the amendment fully, though, here's what I'm thinking. Leave if high attendance hinders orderly meetings or conventions, or if necessary, right? A delegate system may be a fair delegate system based on membership allocation may be adopted by 3/4 vote of the executive committee. 2/3. So we would, and the amendment that I'm proposing here, and I hope that's okay. If there's no objection, we can pause that. But motion to amend, it will be to amend the so just say, you know what I would do?
What?
Yeah, never mind. There you go. Just write amended on the motion above it.
Hinders orderly meetings or conventions.
A delegate system. A fair delegate system may be implemented by 2/3 vote of the state committee.
You may want to add buyback in there. I noticed that it accidentally got deleted.
By?
Yeah, after implemented.
Oh. Yeah. By a 2/3 vote. Cool. And you can just write amended at the end of this one up here if we pass the amendment. All right. Any objection to the amendment? All right, without objection, the motion has been amended. The new amended motion is now if high attendance hinders or, excuse me, meetings or convention, a fair delegate system may be implemented by 2/3 vote of the state committee. If there's no objection, I would actually add based on membership allocation after the words delegate system. Sorry, guys.
What?
A fair delegate
Yeah.
system, comma, based on membership allocation.
That would probably make sense, because otherwise, what determines a fair delegate system?
Right. There are some people who would want the islands to like all be proportionate. That would be advantageous to the outer islands.
Okay, that didn't actually pass.
Okay. Yeah, no. It was an amendment. No objection to the amendments. Amendment passes. All right, now we're on to the vote. Any discussion on the main motion? All right, hearing none. We'll move to wow. I just
said discussion.
I said we'll move to a vote, and then I said any discussion. I'm like brain fried. Whoops. Any objection to the motion? Hearing none, passes without objection. All right, sorry guys. Thank you. In part 2, we have special conventions. Did we actually get to the end of that?
Yeah.
Yeah, we did. Okay, cool.
Did we want to strike 6 still?
Yes, 6 is stricken. So actually, both of those are stricken and replaced by this. So maybe
Yeah.
change amend to strike and replace is what I was. Yeah, the intent of the motion there.
Oh, I just realized our observer dropped off. I wonder when that happened.
It was a while ago. I noticed the word not is accidentally omitted from point 2. Special conventions do not end an officer's term nor elect non-vacant positions unless specified.
That's just an edit.
Yeah. Nor elect non-vacant positions unless specified in Article 4. Special conventions may also be referred to as general membership meetings. Excellent. Cool. So that allows us larger scale special meetings. We could do things like bylaws. It's also just good in general. The more that we have our body of people meeting together to do fun stuff at hotels or whatever, right? The better it is for our people as we grow. And anyway, blah blah blah. Moving on. Any discussion? Any thoughts? I think the not is a fix of a typo. I don't even know if we really need a formal motion for that. Is there any objection to adding the word not there? Cool. Hearing none, we'll move on and accept that. All right. Section 5.
Hey, I need to get going.
No worries, man. Hey, you were excused, and thank you.
That Nick needs to. Yep.
Thanks
Unless
so much.
we're done with this.
Hey, aloha.
Absolutely, no worries. Oh, he dropped off. Okay. We could pause. We could keep going or we could pause, but I think we made
the article maybe.
could finish the article.
Yeah, we can do that. Hold off then.
Cool. Section 5, Special Primary Convention. A special primary convention selects candidates for public office. If multiple candidates contest a position and none concede, the state committee may call primary convention with 30 days notice, at least 14 days before the state withdrawal deadlines to take place at least 14 days.
Oh shit. Austin dropped off. Hey, I think that looking back at section 5, I could God, I wish you guys could. I would say to take place probably should be added before, at least just for a language thing. I don't know. In section 5. After the comma and before at least 14. Oh, Austin's
Well,
back.
I don't know how that happened, but that was weird. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, sorry, Bryce.
Yeah, couldn't hear anything except my own voice for like 3 minutes.
Yeah, I should have just turned on Abra's mic. Okay, special conventions. We were talking about this. Primary conventions. This lets us have an in-house primary. Um, uh, gives the deadline for that. Okay, yeah. Meet state eligibility for the office. My question for you, Bryce, was: is it necessary to meet state eligibility for the office?
Needs state eligibility for the office.
Do we want a primary convention?
It's a may, not a shall.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I would say probably. Now that I would say, yeah, that's probably necessary.
Okay. Be free of impairments hindering the credible representation of party values.
All right. Sorry, what were you saying?
You're good. I actually really think that's good. I think it's all good. State committee may, at its discretion, require a candidate performance contract to align with party initiatives and share data set before candidacy approval. You like that? You like that, Bryce?
False one.
It's a nice one. Fuck rogue candidates, man. You're gonna run in my party. You're gonna give me the fucking data unless the law tells you not to. Right? Damn right. Okay. Section 6, candidate vetting and approval. We are done with it, aren't we? Is that it? State committee or candidate committee shall interview candidates for principal alignment fitness with results approved by the committee. Okay. Candidates disagreeing with platform planks may be restricted from publicly raising those issues if it could cause harm to the party. Great. Okay. Candidates may express dissenting opinions without violation of this section if their statement does not violate core principles. GNAP.
Like nothing stops them from signing up as libertarians anyway.
Yeah, but us not endorsing them and them not meeting our bylaw and our requirements allows us to remove them from the ballot if we really need to, based on this.
So you can like contest it or something?
Yeah, we can
because
contest.
the bylaw.
Yeah, if they're bad enough, we can absolutely contest based on
Okay.
this stuff.
So
Right.
another example of our shitty bylaws.
Candidates may express dissenting opinions without violation of this section if their statement does not violate core principles, e.g. NAP. Dissatisfied candidates may appeal the special convention to override a state committee determination by 2/3 respecting filing deadlines. You may appeal to the special convention to override. So if you try to become a candidate and state committee won't let you, the damn politics, you could make an appeal at the convention. Yeah.
All your members and support.
But in order to do that, you have to be turned down, and yeah.
I like all that. I think.
You guys like that? All good?
Yeah, fine by me.
All right, cool.
Motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn. Is a motion to adjourn. Is there a second?
No second.
All right, motion to adjourn, and there's a second. Does anyone object to the